Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. We're going to do a nice little analysis of last night's Backlash. I almost said Payback. Wasn't that the name of a former WWF or WWE pay-per-view? But in any event, Backlash was last night in Puerto Rico. And I believe they did, what did they do, a Cyber Sunday or a Taboo Tuesday there a long time ago, 18 years ago. But here we are, Puerto Rico. Let's talk about it. First off, they open up the show with this really nice, I don't know if it was a crane shot or some type of shot. It looked like a singular shot. If you ever saw the 1991 Great American Bash, the best thing about that show was the opening show of the person getting into the Baltimore arena for free. And this one was definitely a much advanced version of that. Yes, we're not dissecting a fucking film here, but I'm trying to give the WWE credit for a really cool opening shot. So in case you missed it, or if you fast forward it, or if it did, maybe you were making your turkey sandwich when this shot happened, it's worth taking a look. They basically go from outside of the arena into the arena, but really good stuff. I'm always trying to give credit where it's due. As you know, I have some issues with the WWE, but I'm trying to be fair. Overall, I thought it was probably a show that if you had been there in person, it was probably a great show. Sitting through the Michael Cole, Corey Graves commentary, I mean, I won't destroy them too much because I know that they're just doing as they're told. They're puppets that are programmed. But Michael Cole has not improved, and he has not... I haven't warmed up to him for 25 fucking years or whatever it's been, so I just don't think it's ever going to happen. But let's get to what's important, the in-ring action. Bianca, hot crowd, by the way. The Puerto Rican folks were really up for this thing. EOS, first we have Bianca Belair. Now, I'm in a couple of wrestling groups on Facebook. The Hameen Media Group always does a nice, Ben Hameen Media Group always does a nice poll. And you have to predict who's going to win, your confidence points, all these things. And they, for a bonus question, I believe they asked what would be the first match on the televised portion of the show, in case there was any dark matches that they don't count. But I was right with my prediction. Bianca Belair comes out first to defend her version of the women's title against Io Sky. And, it was interesting. I wouldn't say I saw this coming, but I wasn't surprised that the fans kind of turned on Bianca. I think it's just a thing where when a character is just too syrupy sweet, like hers has been for the whole time she's been there, at least on the main roster, with the hair twirling and the smiling, and I've just never really... I have mixed feelings about Bianca Belair. I do acknowledge that she's a great athletic presence and that she's very good at what she does. But elements of her character, they're just not made for me. But I wonder if they're made for anybody. Or I guess they are, because she's been rewarded with titles and so forth. But the smiling, the fucking hair twirling, even the EST stuff, it just seems very disingenuous to me. The fucking glasses. I mean, like I said, she's great in the ring, but even then, there's some elements of her, even her athletic greatness. I've used the term choppy for her style, which is not a compliment. It's a observation, but she has gotten a lot better about this. Her choppiness has been greatly reduced. Credit to her. She's smoother. Basically, you can kind of see when someone's trying to put their moves together and there's like a start-stop thing. And certain wrestlers are like that. Luchasaurus in AEW is the worst. I don't know if he's gotten any better. But Bianca used to really be bad about the choppiness. She's gotten a lot better. I do appreciate that, and I think she's great, or she has done great in like these big, box office matches. Her and Becky Lynch, her and Sasha Banks was really the best at WrestleMania a few years ago. This one, I really wasn't seeing her getting booed like this. And it wasn't just a thing where the fans were kind of like, yay, we like this Io Sky thing. It seemed like this particular crowd, for whatever reason, maybe they were just hungry for a title change. I mean, that's kind of an old school pro wrestling fan thing where you cheer for the title change, which was why it was always so good to be an NWA fan. When you had bad guys like Harley Race and Ric Flair as the champion, you could cheer for your Dusty Rhodes or your Kerry Von Erich to beat them. But here, you know, the alleged heel is Io Sky. There's been all these rumors that I see on Twitter and so forth about, is Bayley leaving and so forth. Well, they were having this pretty cool high-flying match. Some stuff in this match upset me as an old-school fan. Bianca doing a lot of this stuff. So if a wrestler goes like this, are you, as the opponent, compelled to chase after them and then get attacked? You know, like, oh, I'm Bianca. I'm going to the corner. I'm going to wave you on. And as my opponent, you are bound by nature to chase after me, and then I'm going to splash you or kick you. It makes no fucking sense. I get it. It's wrestling. At least it's WWE's version of wrestling sports entertainment. But I just think that what we're really seeing, and as we know, it's just the wrestlers calling spots in a different way. Similar to John Cena being so goddamn loud when he called the spots with Austin Theory at WrestleMania. It takes me right out of the match. So for all the high-flying, you know, gymnastics and look at me, look at you, to me, I'd rather see Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA wrestle for 25 minutes in a bloodbath. Just personal taste, but, you know, what the fuck. But basing this on what it is, they did a really good job. Bayley and the other one comes out. I can't keep these girls' names straight. Dakota Kai. I mean, they change their names all the time. Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Bayley, Phi, whatever the fuck. Bayley comes out. I'm sure her fat ass in those pants with the holes in them were over with you fucking freak marks out there. But she comes out. Bayley, they try to... I did like the fact that they used the hair in that tug-of-war thing. I think the big payoff with Bianca, the big money storyline, is for someone to cut her fucking braid off. Like, just chop it off, like Brutus Beefcake, right? That's the big payoff at some point. But they do the little tug-of-war gimmick, and then Bayley's kind of caught holding the strand of hair so that the referee yells at her, she lets go. Bianca's able to move out of the way, and Bianca's able to get the pin, and Bianca basically beat them 3-on-1. And then I think it was Graves, and this is why I hate this commentary team. Graves was trying, and I know they're puppets. Graves was trying to make the point that Bayley might have cost Io Sky the match. Well, not really, because it wasn't like Bayley like swung a pair of brass knucks at Bianca and Bianca ducked and she hit Io Sky. It was, you know, she was holding the braid, she let go, and then Bianca was able to move. But if she wasn't holding the braid, then Bianca still would have moved. So, I mean, I know it's fucking WWE and you have to put your intelligence on hold for these assholes, but I like to hold them to a higher fucking standard, or at least I hold myself to a higher standard. By the way, I did not watch this in live time. I know that there's always like a 10 to 20% decrease in enjoyability when you watch it on delay. I actually did great. I watched the UFC thing last night in the movie theater, and I was watching this WWE this afternoon, so it's kind of an old school Sunday afternoon pay-per-view for me in my little world, and I did not get fucking ruined because I didn't go on Twitter, I didn't go on Facebook, I didn't check my goddamn email, and I didn't get fucking, you know, I didn't get spoiled by you assholes. And nobody could fucking spoil it for me. I went into a vacuum, and now I'm emerging like a beautiful fucking butterfly of wrestling knowledge. Our next match, I was wrong in my prediction, not only on the Hameen Media Group, but also on Wrestling Fans. My buddy Shane McKenna, gentleman from Chi-Town, Chicago. He's got another CM Punk summer coming up, I suppose. But I was predicting Omos. Not that I think Omos is a better wrestler than Seth Rollins or anything like that. I just figured that if they gave Omos the victory here, maybe they can do something with these two guys where Seth Rollins wins that new World Heavyweight Championship tournament, which I have issues with that as well. It's a totally unnecessary title. It's redundant. But I figured, Seth would actually be a really good champion for that because he's credible and almost could be like, hey, I beat you before you were champion. Now let's have a title shot. So that would have been logical and intelligent. So, of course, they didn't do it. So this Seth Rollins, almost big man, little man, the singing, I mean, come on. I get it. It's part of the culture now. It's part of wrestling. But I'm getting a little sick and tired of the fans serenading the wrestlers. I mean, it's just weird. It's just stupid. Whether it's Jericho, whether it's Rollins, or anybody else singing to the wrestlers, come on. Okay? I like the fact that Rollins was kind of doing the orchestra. I mean, if they're going to sing, I guess you have to do something. So he's doing the orchestra routine, almost hits him from behind. Intelligent. And there was a few times we didn't see that. Wrestlers, WWE sports entertainers, sorry, Junior, turning their backs on their opponents and getting hit from behind. That should happen every single time because it used to be a thing in wrestling. Gordon Soley would talk about it. You assholes probably don't know who that is, but he was the greatest commentator of all time before, Jim Ross is up there now. But you don't turn your back to your opponent. That's when they actually tried to make this stuff seem legitimate. And so now the wrestlers don't believe in that. And I've even gone to these NXT house shows in Jacksonville, and these poor NXT wrestlers are trained to crop themselves so that both wrestlers are facing the hard camera. But at times, one of them will move up forward to kind of, acknowledge the fans or the audience or the camera, and then the other one has a cheap shot to just smash them. But of course they don't do that. We really saw that later on in the show. I'll get to that when it comes up. But I mean, in any event, I liked almost hitting him from behind. I thought almost, here's the thing. I don't shit on Omos, okay? I mean, I think Omos, for his size, I think he's pretty good, to be quite honest. I think he's just being once a fucking again. If you're not Andre the Giant in 1981, the WWE is going to misuse you. Just like they soiled and spoiled and ruined Paul White, Big Show's career, it seems like they're happily doing that again with Omos. I don't understand it. It really makes no sense because this guy, the AJ Styles tag team was the right move for him. They killed that off way too quick. They put him in these singles feuds, and then he just loses to everybody. It's like, okay, almost loses to Lesnar. Okay. Before that, almost loses to Lashley. Okay. And now, almost loses to Seth Rollins. So I just don't get it. Why? I mean, you've got this guy who's 7'3". He's actually in really good shape, and he's actually, I mean, I wouldn't say he's as charismatic as he needs to be for a giant who always has a mouthpiece, a manager. So I just don't understand why they don't. Am I saying they don't see the value in this guy? I guess because they just, and the way that he was introduced was with that Raw Underground shit. He was the doorman for Shane McMahon's Raw Underground, which I actually kind of liked for a couple of weeks. So I just don't get why this poor Amos or Omos makes me think of John Amos from fucking Good Times. I actually saw him do a one-man play years ago. It was great. Haley's Comet, it was called. But anyway, why does Omos just not do better? You tell me. Then we had, Omos keeps losing. I made notes for this fucking thing. That's a Big Show Part 2. Corey Graves, I think I just wrote worst commentator. Then, what the fuck else? Oh, I wrote wasted talent for Omos. The next thing was the U.S. title match. In the Hameen group, they asked who would take the pin. I predicted it correctly. Not that it's rocket science, I know that. Bronson Reed takes the pin. I don't get this Austin Aries thing. I guess that's part of his gimmick, that people don't get why he's so good. So, yeah, I'm playing into it, but I really still think he's that good. I just think he's, I wouldn't say he's a hunk of shit, but when they say things like, oh, he's the future of the WWE, well, the future's not so fucking bright then, now is it? So, Austin Aries gets the victory over Bronson Reed and Lashley. Lashley, you know, you think about it, he's a guy who's always kind of in some type of title hunt, whether it's like the world title, the universal title. I'm sure he'll be a contender for this new fucking title or this old title revamped, which I guess I'll get into that in a minute. I might save that for another video. But Lashley, you know, he's thrown into this thing, but to sort of protect him, they don't get him pinned. But Austin Aries gets the pin over Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed, let's face facts, he's just lucky to have a job. Then we get to some really interesting stuff. I guess this was the Eddie Guerrero match, because Rhea Ripley, I'm assuming she's got this shirt now that says, I'm your mammy, I'm your mammy, I'm your mommy, I'm your mammy, I'm your mommy, I'm your mommy, I'm your mommy, I'm your mama, I'm your... So it's like, what the fuck is she? She's something, but she's mommy, mama, she's... So she fucking is in there with this shirt. So it's like, okay, this is a riff off the old Eddie Guerrero shirt. Because didn't Eddie used to have the I'm Your Poppy shirt when he was doing his stuff with China fucking 30 years ago? Or 20 or 25? I don't know. But in any event, Rhea's in there. The fans are actually chanting, mommy, mommy, which is pretty cool. And then she kind of gives them the kiss my buttock routine. So she's like, no, I'm the heel. Good for her. She stays in character. I guess she knows how to do that. Io Sky doesn't. Io Sky kind of played into it. Going back to that match for a minute. There was several times in the Io Sky Bianca match where they're like smiling at each other. They're in the middle of the fucking match and they're smiling at each other. What's that thing that wrestlers do? It's not... A lot of times women wrestlers do it, but the male wrestlers do it too. If they're like a smaller wrestler. It's like they kind of like jump in the... It's like kind of looks... It looks like they're going to do a drop kick sort of, but instead they kind of turn around in the air and throw their fucking crotch at their opponent. So they split their legs and then the other opponent can just like smash them or do something with them. And I don't get, like, what is the attempted move? Like, I'm just throwing my upside-down crotch at you? What's the fucking thought with that? And then the other one just... You would think that after watching wrestling, I mean, you assume the wrestlers watch wrestling, too, they would say, well, shit. Every time someone jumps up in the air and twists around upside down and throws their fucking split legs at somebody's midsection, they get smashed to the mat. Maybe I won't do that. But, nope, they keep on doing it. So Io Sky did that to fucking Bianca. Bianca was smiling at her, and then she smashed her to the ground. So that stupid fucking move. That's why when you see these old-time wrestling fans who get so sick of this goddamn modern-day thumb-in-the-ass style wrestling, it's because of stuff like this. But anyway, Rhea's out there with her I'm Your Mammy shirt. Fucking What's Her Fuck comes out. Okay, so here's the deal. I have met Zelina Vega. She's friends of friends. She's a friend of friends of mine. I can't say that she and I are friends, but we did have a nice 20-minute conversation before she was even Zelina Vega, back when she was like, you know, TNA Women's Tag Team Champion, barely on TV. Super nice lady, super short, which, yes, you see her on TV and she's, you know, shorter than the other ladies, but she's really, really short. But I'm really, really tall as well. Nice lady. Works hard. I knew the thing, the story about her father getting killed in 9/11 is legitimate because I've heard that for years. So really nice lady. Nice to see her have paid work here. And they bill her as from Brooklyn, but she's wearing, you know, she's got the Puerto Rican fucking flag. Of course, if you talk to a flag enthusiast, they tell you that, you know, at least with the United States flag, wearing it as a bikini or as a sweater or a t-shirt or a hat, that's all bad, like for flag, or, you know, historians, but I don't know if that applies to the Puerto Rican flag or not. You know, you're talking about flag laws and flag stuff. If any of the military people happen to be watching this, you might know what I'm talking about. You probably do better than I do. But in any event, I don't know if that applies to state flags or to what is Puerto Rico anyways? Puerto Rico's, God, Hawaii and Alaska are states, but what's Puerto Rico, like a territory or something? But in any event, she comes out, she looks really nice, she's crying, I get it. But, okay, she's in the fucking ring, and she's got her arms, and she's hugging mom and dad, okay, or hugging mom and some other person, I guess. But then she's in the ring, and she's extending her arms for this Puerto Rican flag, and yes, it's a great spectacle, but she's got her arms all fucking tied up with this flag and the little sticks that are holding it onto her. Why doesn't Rhea Ripley give her a nice forearm in the back? Or throw her split legs across her crotch? Maybe she could nail the move, finally, that all these people are trying to do. So, I mean, do you see my point? Yes, we know, it's predetermined, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, come on, have some fucking self-respect, okay? That's why people like me are watching UFC in live time and watching this on tape delay, okay? That's the reason. So they have a pretty good match. I mean, it wasn't, how do I put this? It wasn't like the two, oh God, the other thing with the Bianca thing, the shock face. Like, Bianca thinks she's going to pin Io, but Io kicks out of some big awesome move, and then Bianca, I'm shocked. You know, they're all so goddamn shocked that they went for a fucking pin and they didn't get it. And the human reaction is to, I'm shocked. It's like, shock face is a total WWE invention. It's dragged its ugly head over to AEW. Ruby Riott brought it over. I called her out on it on social media. I'm sure she gave 3/5 of a shit less. But it's like, keep your goddamn shock face out of my sport, because I don't want to see it anymore with your God. I mean, yes, your opponent is capable of kicking out of a pin attempt. You don't need to be shocked every time it happens, shock face assholes. So, going back to this match, it wasn't like a, you know, 5-star Dave Meltzer, Tokyo Dome, you know, Zelina came oh so close from winning, she was Drew in Cardiff type of shit. It was, okay, she gave a pretty good effort, but she just wasn't ready. And Rhea, you know, and look, here's the thing. If you see that, I mean, I know you assholes know this stuff. If you're watching this video, you know, Rhea Ripley used to be your typical blonde bombshell, hot, you know, big busted blonde. And then she was like, well, I'm not getting noticed. Everyone just thinks I'm Charlotte 2.0. Let me, you know, tat up my body. Let me fucking put a fucking septum ring in my nose. Let me get a tattoo on my eyeball. All this shit, and she's still hot. So, I mean, I give her credit, but she looks really good in this thing. She's been doing it for 5 or 6 years now. I guess in some ways, you know, I like that traditional, you know, 2% milk and fucking wheat toast version of her, but it's her body. She has providence over it, whatever the fuck. It's getting her a paycheck. So, you know, mommy wins. That's what I wrote. Why didn't Rhea hit her from behind? At this point, I stopped taking notes. You know, I wrote once again, you know, they're not looking at the opponent, they're looking at the hard camera. It's so silly. We had the 6-man tag. Here's the thing. I mean, this, to me, folks, it's evidence that WWE really doesn't want people to be that next level of superstar anymore. There's 2 talents on this show that you can see that they kind of cool them off a little bit. The first one, once again, is Bianca Belair. I mean, yes, they'll feed you this lie. Oh, if you can't be in the main event, being the first match of the show is the greatest thing for the wrestler, blah, blah, blah. The reality is they're cooling her off a little bit, you know, Bianca, because she's getting to be so popular. They don't want her to be too powerful and be able to go to another AEW or wherever, Japan. So they want to keep her in line, and so they throw in the first match and blah, blah, blah. Same thing here with our buddy Sami Zayn. You got Matt Riddle, you got Kevin Owens, and you have Sami Zayn. Now, 2 or 3 or 4 months ago, you know, people were fucking getting their dicks in an uproar about Sami Zayn. Oh, he's going to beat Roman, and then he'll be at WrestleMania, or they should make it a three-way match at WrestleMania. Everyone was getting so hot and bothered over Sami Zayn, and guess what happened? Nothing. He fucking does not beat Roman Reigns. He wins the tag team title, and so there you go. And now he's in this 6-man, and it really, folks, I mean, you watch it, you tell me, but when I watched it, it just felt like the bottom fell out. It felt like the crowd needed a break, and this became the hot dog match somehow. Like this one, you know, I mean, from what I could tell, there was no intermission, but this became the intermission. Just the crowd was not into it. From what I watched, there was nothing unique about this match. It just felt like by the numbers bullshit. Riddle eats the pin. Corey Graves and fucking what's his dick, Michael Cole, trying to push the narrative that, you know, Sola Samoa or Sola Sikoa, that's Roman Reigns' new best buddy. I mean, who cares? It's just dumb. So anyway, so they win the fucking match. It felt like it meant nothing, and it did. Okay. What's next? Am I forgetting something? No, I guess not, because in the next match, and I'm going to give them credit, folks. I mean, you know, I think this was a good show. I think if you happen to be there live, leave a comment if you want. But I think that if you were in the live audience, you probably had a hell of a good time, because it was probably a party-like atmosphere. It was pretty fan-friendly booking. Oh, geez, I wasn't say I'm sorry, but I kind of forgot. I forgot the whole fucking Bad Bunny match. Oh my God, how could I be so ignorant? So Bad Bunny and fucking Damian Priest. I never heard of Bad Bunny before he had that WrestleMania, you know, 2 or 3 years ago when he teamed with Damian Priest against The Miz and Morrison. Funny that Damian Priest was the Robert Gibson of that match, standing on the fucking ring apron the whole time. Everybody kind of got all hot and bothered for Bad Bunny. To me, it was just Miz and Morrison flopping around like fish for Bad Bunny. And you know, is this only his second match? Has he wrestled again? I can't remember. I mean, I guess they've got to have Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul at some point, right? In this thing, I thought it was okay. I mean, it was good. And look, I get it. This match is not for me. It's for the fucking Bad Bunny fans or whatever the fuck. I just feel like, what are we trying to tell the future wrestlers of the world or the future WWE sports entertainers? Train, get really good at your craft, and then come out here and lose to celebrities. I don't get it. Yes, they've been doing it for a while. LT beat Bam Bam Bigelow. Mr. T won at WrestleMania 1. I understand this, okay? I guess I'm still not in favor of it. And if ever there was a time for a fucking celebrity to put over a wrestler, imagine fucking that, this would have been the time, you know? But I guess you have to feel good and all that horse cunt shit. And I just didn't get it. I just didn't understand it. If they're trying to make they're trying to make this Damian Priest guy something of value, and if him and Damian, you know, if Bad Bunny and Damian Priest are really friends, why would a friend make you look so bad? You know, and so I guess they have, I mean, at least he didn't submit to the figure 4. I don't really see great promise or whatever the fuck in Damian Priest, but he's a big guy. He's got a cool look. I think he's probably better served as a bodyguard. I don't particularly think he's a great wrestler. Okay, so now we had all this. We had what? Fucking Dominic comes in. He's wearing the Rhea Ripley "I'm your mammy" shirt, or "I'm your mommy," or whatever the fuck. I keep saying "mammy" like it's the fucking some type of 1950s fucking Aunt Jemima commercial, but fucking. I'm thinking about that guy yesterday. Do you see that? That the guy meant to say the Negro League Museum, and he fucked up. So, you know, what can you do? It's a big mistake there, buddy. Anyway, getting back to the serious nature of this wrestling match. The Latino World Order, Dominic, Finn Balor, Savio Vega, Rey Mysterio Jr. It was nice to see Carlito. You'd have to fill me in, people. Did Carlito show up on SmackDown? Was Carlito kind of like a a half surprise. It seemed like his presence was not a total shocker. They didn't do shock face for him, but he was there. I thought it was pretty good, actually. I thought it was nice to see Carlito in the ring. He's one of these guys that could have been a top guy and just didn't care, or wasn't, whatever the fuck. But he was big, Carlito. And Savio Vega comes out. Did you know that Savio Vega once replaced Shawn Michaels in a pay-per-view main event? Yeah. So, moving forth, No Way Out 98, I believe. The one before WrestleMania 14. So we move forth. It was okay. I mean, the whole thing was fine. I just don't, I mean, I have no loyalty to Damian Priest, trust me, but just to see this guy lose to a celebrity, as a wrestling fan, you know, it irks me. As a guy that's wrestled a few matches, it's irked me, okay? Now we move forward. Then I think we did the 6-man after that. That's why the crowd energy was so dead, because they got their Bad Bunny, they got their Io Sky, they got their Seth Rollins. So they got their, you know, Zelina Vega, Rhea Ripley. So now we go to Brock and Cody. I did think they did probably as best. I mean, I think they did really pretty good booking for, very good booking for this, actually. I think they made them both look strong, which is hard to do. Brock getting busted open on the corner. I just think I heard something, you know, a couple of days ago on Wrestle Talk or one of these things, where the WWE had some no blood edict, and maybe they just fed that out there to us marks just to confuse us, because here was blood. I assume that Brock, I was trying to catch it, you know, once he hit that steel turnbuckle thing, I'm sure he gigged himself, but he did a nice job of it, and Cody took advantage with the punches, and they did a nice bleed job. And I give Brock credit, you know, for a guy who's 45, 47, whatever he is, he still looks really good and scary, and he still has good Brock Lesnar matches. So you don't hear me compliment Brock Lesnar a whole lot. I'm not a big fan, but I think that he did about as good a job of putting over Cody while still remaining a top guy himself. So, I mean, I thought it was good. Surprised you, didn't I? Because I have been very critical of Lesnar and how he's been used in WWE. But I thought he did very well. And, you know, losing, but still kind of keeping his heat. Cody gets to say that he beat Brock Lesnar, and now he deserves a rematch with Roman Reigns. So, you know, there we go, folks. So overall, like I said, oh, God, how could I forget? When fucking Zelina threw that fucking sandal at Rhea, and I guess that's just a custom, not a custom, but I'm assuming what that is. I'm guessing, okay? So tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that in Puerto Rico, because they go to the beach a lot, I would assume, if the kids are being bad, mommy takes off her sandal and throws the sandal at the kids. I'd assume that that's the gimmick. That's the backstory. They could have done that without Michael Cole trying to translate to us, you know, to us gringos, what the fuck is going on. Like, yeah, Michael Cole, we can kind of figure that out. You don't need to tell us. Like, Michael Cole's trying to, and I know he's a puppet. I know he's just a fucking Pinocchio who's having his strings pulled by Junior in the back. But you don't have to try and explain to us the cultural significance of throwing a sandal at somebody. And that's why, you know, I like last night, for instance, it occurred to me to, you know, I watched the UFC, think, okay, can I stay up for another 3 hours and watch this WWE thing? And the answer was no, because I can't stand listening to Michael Cole, his chirping little voice, he's just horrible. He's just god fucking awful, okay? And Graves, Tattoo Neck, congratulations on impregnating your girlfriend, but Tattoo Neck as a commentator doesn't do much for me either. So the two of them together just suck. They're horrible. They're god-awful, okay? And it's punishment to listen to those two assholes. for 3 hours. So the action in the ring was good. Imagine if Lawler and King, or fucking Heenan and Monsoon, or anybody and anybody besides Tattoo Neck and Chucklefuck Michael Cole were doing commentary. So much goddamn better. Me and my buddy Joe Bruin used to do better commentary, okay? For Top Rope Promotions. So that's it, folks. MikeMessier.com. One pro wrestling and sports fan here on fucking YouTube.